my second Cadastra event. I'm back because the question of what is the future of commerce is so important. I've just come off a panel. We talked about first-party data, about privacy, about the value exchange between brands. And later on, I'm going to be talking about the Metaverse. So all the bingo words today. These events are really important to have a dialogue between brands, agencies, and practitioners in the space. Bring them together and see what's now and what's next. I am a cynic on new technologies. I have to be as a futurist. So I've tried to unpack it. I have a podcast, and often I say, how would I explain the metaverse to my 80-year-old mother in Adelaide, Australia? And so I think for everyone here, I kind of got my head around it. The metaverse started in the gaming world. So if you know about gaming and you play with virtual things and you gamify things and you want to have a great experience, think about, to your point, can your brand leverage a gaming environment or gamification? Is there something where it's competitive or you can buy things? Because I think everyone is saying, should we be in the metaverse? And as to your point, the metaverse doesn't exist just yet and may not for a while. But have that gaming mindset. Can you extend that in there? And also, there must be someone in your organisation who is a vehement gamer and understands this space. Go and sit down with them, have a cup of coffee and say, how can we make this work for our brand? Because right now, maybe we can't, but you should have a watching brief on it. If we think back though, the fact that you can take one of these devices anywhere in the world and it works is because of standards. There were many, many different networks. I remember my time back in Optus, back in Australia in about 1996. You could only send messages on net. So if you're an Optus customer, you could send it to someone else, but not other people. The day we opened up multi-network interoperability, it went from 16 million messages a day to 300 million. So people then realised there was the network effect. So we will solve that problem. Unfortunately, people want to own the metaverse. The brands you talked about change their name, some of them, to be in that space. So I think what we want to see is standards and interoperability so that people can use things that they've bought in one place in the other. I think there's a lot of exploration happening at the moment, and you don't know unless you try these things. So I think what we see brands actually experimenting is, can we look at someone who is of a gaming mindset to what I said before and get them interested and involved and show them that actually we're a hit brand, we're actually trying new things. I don't think it's for everyone though, so I think some of you here will go, should we really be doing this? To my point before, is your product or service able to exist in a virtual way? But I think also, I think I talked on the panel before about being consciously digitally curious. So have you bought a headset? Actually, are you playing with this? I think what we'll see also is some augmented reality where what I'm seeing through the screen, I can actually see in front of me as well as a virtual thing. There have been studies showing there's only a certain amount of time you can wear a headset. I think the problem is when you put a friction point in the way of an experience, it can become fatiguing. I mean, Google tried Google Glass and that didn't quite work. We'll eventually get there. I said on a stage once that we'll one day have a contact lens or something like that that will revolutionise that. We're not there yet because the technology isn't as smart yet. But I think we're seeing a lot of experimentation from brands that just want to try it, because if they don't try it, someone else will. And I think acquisition of talent would be a really good way to look at this. And to the point about the commerce aspect as well, and IP, have you actually got a strategy to have your goods and services in the metaverse? So we're not talking about NFTs, but there was a law case recently where someone created a Meta Birkin, a Birkin handbag, and they lost the case against LVMH because they were passing off, because they had intended to create confusion. So now you've got places where it won't be intentional and accidentally you'll have these virtual goods and the IP rights are owned by someone else. So lawyers are going to have a field day, which means your legal team need to be up to speed with this. So you can't escape it. But if I told you 30 years ago you had to carry one of these things around with you, you would have thought I was a futurist. Yes. But now we do. So don't dismiss it. It will become pervasive, but it's early days. In every organisation, every room, there are two tribes. There's the going digital and the born digital. The born digital had an iPhone as their first toy or a Samsung device as their first toy. And so they are very comfortable with this. So why not run a hackathon, get the two groups together. What the going digital, the old crusty people like me will see is, oh, I didn't know that's how they use that technology, that's how they were doing that. The born digital will have a voice. They're saying, finally, those old crinkly people are looking at how we use this technology. They didn't get their head around how a virtual world might work for commerce. What then happens in front of you, you actually see those two tribes coming together. Now, this is not just for the metaverse, it's for anything. But I think more than ever before, it took me a while to get my head around the metaverse, and I didn't have the opportunity to do a hackathon. So get your tribes together. Get the born digital to actually run it. First of all, they'll go, wow, they're actually letting us have something fun and exciting. And then it will actually make it real. Any piece of technology, you should be digitally curious. So whether it be ChatGPT or the metaverse, try it. When you put your hands on that, That's the aha moment. You go, now I get it. And I imagine probably a lot of people here haven't put a headset on and played a VR game. When you do, and it's in a commerce environment, that's when the penny drops. So should brands be braver? Yes. Maybe actually let the born digital take some of those risks and show the oldies how it's done.